What's up guys, my name is Ace, and with the launch of Black Ops 4, I've had a lot of people asking me, what are some of the best classes that you can use when you're first starting out on the game and you haven't really leveled up too much, you don't have everything unlocked, what kind of classes are good? Today, I'm going to be going over 4 excellent classes that you can make within your first 15 or so levels of leveling up in this game. Now, of course, there are going to be better classes out there once you start unlocking things and you get further into the ranks, but for those people that are just getting into the game, these are probably going to be your best bets, at least in my opinion. So first up, we have kind of my go-to class. You can use this on any map and mode. It's very, very versatile. This is with the ICR-7. For attachments, I really like using a reflex sight on this, although it's not necessary. It has decent iron sights, but we have reflex, FMJ, which counters anybody using armor. It completely negates armor, so that's awesome to have on, and quick draw, just so you can snap on a target a little bit faster. With this one, we don't have a secondary weapon. Our gear is going to be a stim shot, which you're going to be seeing throughout most of these classes, if not all of them. Equipment is going to be special issue, which is what we're going to have for all of our classes, and the simple reason for this is it's free to have on your class, and it gives you whatever piece of equipment that the specialist that you're using currently has. For perks, we're going to be using 2 tier 1 perks, which means you will need perk 1 greed. We're going to be using Engineer, which is excellent for seeing enemy equipment placed on the map. This is really, really helpful. You're not really going to be using it to shoot down UAVs or anything like that, but just seeing someone's sensor dart, for instance, is very, very valuable in this game. And Scavenger, just because with this class, you can actually get some streaks going pretty well. For tier 2, we have Mobility, just helps us get around the map a little bit faster. And finally, for tier 3, we have Ghost, which really only works when you're moving, but it can be really effective if you're trying to get onto the flank of your enemies. So that's the first class, and honestly, if there was just one class that I could pick out of all of these 4, this would be the go-to. It's really good for basically any situation. Make sure with the ICR you're landing at least 1 headshot though, because headshots do matter with this gun, and it will significantly reduce your time to kill if you land just 1 bullet to the head. Moving on to the next class I have for you guys, this is an SMG class, and with this we're using the MX9. Our attachments are going to be an ELO or a reflex sight, FMJ once again to negate that armor, hybrid mags because I tend to burn through ammo fairly quickly with this, especially if I'm dealing with multiple enemies at once, and finally long barrel on there, which means we will have to use the primary Gunfighter 1 wildcard. Once again, we've got Stim Shot for our gear as well as our special issue equipment. Our perks as well are going to be pretty much the same story as the last class. We have Scavengers, so we can go on longer streaks without running out of ammo. We have Lightweight, which just helps us get around the map super fast when combined with an SMG. And finally, we have Ghost, which just helps us flank the enemies much more effectively. After that one, this is a super underrated class. I don't see many people using the Auger. With the Auger here, if you use high caliber, it will reduce the number of shots it takes to kill if you just hit 1 bullet to the head, which is really, really nice. And once again, we are using FMJ. I really like having FMJ on my class because anytime I run into those teams where you have like 2 or 3 people running armor, I completely negate their armor with it, and it's just an excellent feeling. With this one, we do have a secondary, and that's going to be the launcher, and with this, that means we can take out UAVs and things like that really, really easily. This is also really good for taking out barbed wire and barricades and things like that. I don't see a lot of people using launchers for that, but it's super, super effective for clearing those sorts of things out. With this one, since we're hanging back a little bit, I like using a ComSec device. This allows me to earn my streaks a little bit more effectively. I don't feel like I need Stim Shot because I'm not like right up in the action all the time. I'm kind of hanging back, picking people off from a distance, and therefore ComSec device is an excellent option here, especially if you're going for some higher end streaks. For perks, we've got Engineer and Scavenger, once again for our first tier. Then we've got Cold-Blooded, which is just really nice so that enemy score streaks can't see me. I also will often switch to this class to take out enemy streaks if somebody calls in like an attack chopper. I can switch to this class so that chopper won't target me, and I can take him out with my Hellion Salvo. And finally, we have Team Link. This class isn't really designed around flanking your enemy, so Ghost doesn't really work all that effectively. And since we don't really have too many other things if we're looking at very low levels, Team Link is great for just helping you find enemies because it gives you the full radius of the fog of war around you as well as your teammates. So finally, this brings us to an LMG class, and this is using the Titan, which I actually quite like the Titan in this game. With this one, we're using Quick Draw, FMJ, and Stock. Once again, for the secondary, we have a launcher, so this one's really good for taking out streaks as well as like barbed wire and barricades, for instance. For gear, we have Stim Shot once again. I really, really like using Stim. I kind of feel lost without it on most of my classes, so I will be using Stim Shot on this one. For perks, first up, Engineer. This just helps us see that equipment through walls as well as take down our streaks a little bit easier. Lightweight is great to make up for the fact that the LMGs will be slowing you down quite a bit, so Lightweight kind of fixes that at least to an extent. And once again, we're going to have Team Link here, mainly just for a change of pace, but also because Ghost isn't going to be all that effective with an LMG class. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for the top 4 beginner classes that I have for you guys when you first hop into Black Ops 4. Of course, feel free to play around with a few things. If there's some things that you don't really like and you don't feel suit your playstyle, definitely feel free to substitute it for something else. But those are the top 4 classes that I would personally recommend. Now keep in mind, I will be doing updated class setup videos as time goes on with this game, actually throughout the entire year, because the meta will change. And of course, I'm going to be doing better class setups for when you've actually ranked up and have a bunch of things unlocked, because there are some better options out there if you manage to put the time into the game. Before we wrap this up though, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what is your current favorite class to use in Black Ops 4? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time. Yeah.